Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. So there's not really a ton going on in Iowa Hawkeye sports. Iowa football this is just kind of a weekly uh, episode I'm dropping just to stay current. Iowa did receive a transfer quarterback from Colorado State, which I will be discussing towards the end. But the main thing that I want to discuss is Caitlin Clark. I think that this is a good time to just generally speaking discuss her first couple of months in the pros, not even necessarily her performance on the court, but the reaction that we have seen. And I got to tell you guys, I have been spot on. I knew that this was going to happen. I've seen it for the last couple of years. In America, things are extremely politicized. There's a ton going on. There's a ton of competing worldviews and thoughts and ideologies, interests, for lack of a better term. And say what you will, but the WNBA does have a certain culture or image. Okay. And Caitlin Clark, in a lot of ways, represents the opposite of the image that they are trying to put forth. Now, I don't want to go into specifics because this is not a political commentary channel or anything like that. But I knew that Caitlin Clark was going to have a tough time in the WNBA. That is why, not like on the court, but just the media attention, the people involved in the WNBA, all of that stuff, all of the exterior stuff. And that's why I joked that if I was Caitlin Clark, I would have highly considered coming back to Iowa for one more year and gotten as much money as I could. She would have made more coming back to Iowa for one more year. And who knows, maybe she wins a national championship. And then, honestly, I would have considered going overseas to play professionally because a lot of the players that play in the WNBA also play overseas because they don't make enough money in the WNBA. And I have been to Spain. My on my grandmother's side, she was born in Spain, and I went there to visit family. And women's basketball is extremely popular there. And that is why you see a lot of WNBA players going over there because the league, in a lot of regards, is more popular than the WNBA. It's just the WNBA has a far greater concentration of talent within the league. So even though I was joking about that, I am totally serious about that's what I would do in her shoes. But I knew that she wouldn't. And it's just every day or like every week, every couple of days, you see a new story about Caitlin Clark, like about like the littlest things. She had this interaction with the players. Her coach said this, her teammate said this WNBA player said this, and it's like all of this just drama, for lack of a better term, drama. And it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. And maybe I only see it this way because I don't think we've seen a player, a women's player, as popular as Caitlin Clark. We've really only seen it on the men's side, and so for superstars, I guess you could make the case that this is par for the course. But I sometimes I see these stories and the taglines and the headlines, and I just can't help but laugh because it's just all ridiculous nonsense, and there's no doubt in my mind that Caitlin Clark is definitely going through an adjustment period, but it's so everything. And this is not me saying that this is Caitlin Clark's fault, because it's not. She is a consummate professional. She's a good kid. She works hard, has a great game, obviously, and there is not a single thing that has been more important than Caitlin Clark to the women's side of basketball. But it's just all of these stories, all of this stuff is crazy. And it's every single game. Every time she steps onto the court, it's some new dramatized story. Hell, even when she's not on the court, it's some new dramatized story. And I knew that this was going to happen. I could read the tea leaves. Um, and I know why it is. I know exactly why it is. But and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. This is going to continue. It might get a little bit better as time goes on and she cements herself in the pros, but it sh- it's going to continue. It is. And to me, the biggest issue that I have with all of this is, number one, it's not really justified because, as I said, she's a good kid. She's the best thing that has happened to women's sport in years. She's a consummate professional. It's not deserved at all. I mean, can you honestly tell me the last time Caitlin Clark said or did anything that was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that. I can't believe she said that." But the reason why this is so ridiculous to me, and honestly, this is a reason why the WNBA has struggled for so long to put butts in the seats, is because these people should be welcoming her with open arms. They should be thanking God that somebody like Caitlin Clark came along to salvage their league. Okay. If you're not aware, the WNBA has been hemorrhaging money since its existence. If it wasn't for the NBA giving them like a donation and a subsidy, the WNBA would likely not exist. And everybody in the WNBA, I mean, everybody should be thanking God, the stars, whatever they believe in, that Caitlin Clark came along. And not only are they not doing that, they are actively pushing against her. They're actively going against her because Caitlin Clark, as I said at the beginning of the video, does not represent your average WNBA player. And kind of the personal political ideology that a lot of these women have within the WNBA. You know, and I could delve even deeper and specify what I mean when I say that, but like I said, this is not a political channel, so I don't want to go into it too much. But suffice it to say, Caitlin Clark and how she lives her life is not the status quo in the WNBA. Okay, I will just say that and leave it there. So it's crazy. It's crazy, and if they're not careful, they are going to totally ruin this diamond that they landed. Essentially, Caitlin Clark is to the WNBA what $1 million is to some person that they just happen to win out of nowhere by doing some scratchers or playing blackjack or poker. I mean, hell, even blackjack and poker, there's some skill to it. This is like $1 million being dropped down from the heavens to somebody and them totally like saying, let's just set it on fire. Let's just burn it up like Joker. Let's just burn all this money. That's what this is. I cannot believe it. It's no. I take that back. I can believe it, but I can't believe it in the regard that it's so stupid how petty and dramatized the individuals involved in the WNBA are. It's shameful, really. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. Like I said, it's going to continue. And Caitlin Clark just needs to continue doing what she's doing. She definitely has a target on her back, and I don't envy the position that she's in. And you know, yeah, yeah. I'm curious what you guys have to say in the comments section on this. What your thoughts are on this? I think that I'm sure there's a lot of you who see it the same way I do, and I really wish Caitlin the best. I do, because she's doing her best. She's a great ambassador for the sport, and she's done so many great things for so many people, young ladies and stuff like that. Uh, and it really is just a shame what the WNBA is doing with this prized gem, diamond. Um, what a shame. So, but as just kind of externally, let me see if I can get it pulled up here. See what her averages are. I'm not even sure what they are, but like on 247 Sports, this is the article. These are the type of things that I'm talking about. Indiana Fever head coach Christy Sides publicly defends Caitlin Clark after cheap shot foul. It just, it never ends. So I'm going to pull up her stats here. I don't even know if they have it. Oh, it's like one of the last ones. She's averaging 16.9 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. And in the WNBA, let's see if I can find. I'm going to see if I can find the stats and see where she ranks on points. It's all, and I always see Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark pinned up against one another, and that's exactly what I'm referring to. Is this clash of worldviews? And that's why they pin Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese. So she is averaging 16.9 points per game, which is good for 16th in the NBA. And she's a point guard. She's not necessarily supposed to be a leading scorer. So, anyways, all right, guys, lastly, let's move on to the quarterback transfer from Colorado State. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the story. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on kind of what this means. I listen, guys, I know I did the story on that an Oregon Ducks beat writer did on Iowa's offense and whether it looked like things were changing or not, just to provide some interesting content and some interesting analysis on during the offseason on Iowa Hawkeye Sports. You would never see any other channel, any other Iowa related channel do something like that. But with that said, I think Tim Lester has done some things that I really like. He has gone hard in the transfer portal. I think landing a Big Ten quarterback starter, albeit from I mean, last year they definitely had an improved year, but a lower tier Big Ten, well, middle of the pack Big Ten team. I would say Northwestern is a middle of the pack Big Ten program, middle to bottom, that nobody was expecting to happen in Brendan Sullivan. And then on top of that, going and landing Jackson Stratton from Colorado State, it really makes me believe, honestly, and when Deacon Hill decided to transfer, I said that this was a possibility. It really is starting to confirm my gut feeling, which was that after spring, Tim Lester, as is the case with most college programs, especially Division I programs, I know because I've been a part of one myself. After spring, I had a gut feeling that Tim Lester had meetings with all of the players and gave a legitimate evaluation and analysis, a report card of where things stood. And I think Tim Lester gave Deacon Hill a chance to prove himself as a quarterback for the Iowa Hawkeyes during spring, a fairly short period of time, still important period of time, but a short period of time nonetheless. And he didn't do it. He did not show enough. And I think Tim Lester told him what was what, and Deacon Hill saw the writing on the wall. And this is why we're seeing all these moves being made on the offense. I mean, getting a transfer like this as a walk-on quarterback is pretty solid. In the grand scheme of things, is this going to be something that's the end all be all for Iowa? No, but it is an example of Tim Lester's mindset, and it shows that he does have an ability to attract at least some talent, and he has done so. So Jackson Stratton, he has played in a few games for Colorado State, albeit he hasn't been a starter or anything like that, and he does have 3 years of eligibility. The guy coming out, he comes from Mission Bay, California, La Jolla, California. The guy had an offer and was committed to Washington coming out of high school, but ultimately chose not to play for them when that coach left for a different opportunity. And coming out of high school, he had a grade of an 85, so a mid-level group of five, low power five quarterback. But he's a really nice prospect. I mean, the dude is 6'5", 210 pounds. He comes from, if you're not aware, La Jolla and Mission Bay is one of the best football high schools in California. It's in Southern California. And there's a reason why he had an offer from Washington coming out of high school. I mean, this is a pretty decent offer list coming out of high school. It's not crazy, it's not, unreal, but it's not bad. It's not bad. The biggest offer was the Washington offer. So I like what I'm seeing. I like that Tim Lester is going out there and really improving the quarterback room. He's getting some athletes in there, and he's getting some talent in there. And another thing that we're seeing is he's getting some speed in there. All the quarterbacks that he has gotten in the transfer portal are quarterbacks who have the ability to scramble. Look, he was committed to Washington, and then he decommitted in 2021. Now, admittingly, I don't know a ton about Jackson Stratton. I haven't been able to watch any highlights. I guess we can read this here. Stratton, a native of Mission Bay, California, and a product of La Jolla High School in California, is listed as 6'5". He appeared in 4 games for the Rams as a true freshman, completing 4 of 17 passes for 78 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 INTs. Stratton was originally committed to Washington his senior year, but when Jimmy Lake left Washington program in 2021, Stratton decided to open up his recruitment. In high school, he completed 312 of 515 passes for 4,469 yards and 52 touchdowns to 19 interceptions. And a lot of his games were impacted due to COVID, unfortunately. So, but I'm sure he has some athletic ability. I don't see. I'll have to check the highlights, but I can almost guarantee he's got some athletic ability. That's what Tim Lester is looking for. Um, is he somebody that's like Jalen Hurd or anything like that? No, I don't think so. But nonetheless, so I like this, guys. I do like this, and this is reason for optimism. I like the improvement that Tim Lester and the competition that he is breeding in the quarterback room. So, all right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, I can't find any write up on his athletic traits, but as soon as I'm able to watch some film on him, I'll check out some of his high school film. I'll let you guys know what I saw. Thank you guys so much for watching. Smash the subscribe button. Get this channel to 2,000 subs by the start of the next football season. Thank you guys again. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy will on facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.